Yeah. So what do you guys think makes indie horror games kind of outshine like the AAA space? Why do you think they're more interesting and doing
The fact
just
they... Oh, sorry.
interesting and unique stuff?
I was gonna say the fact
No,
they
you're
don't
good.
hold back, but
Long
with AAA ones, they have to like account for like the general audience. I was playing a indie horror game called Among Ashes. I don't know if anyone's played that.
Oh yeah, I love that game.
I had to play that game with my headphones off because it just freaked me the fuck out. And like no AAA game has made me like feel genuine fear compared to like indie horror games, because they just don't hold back. They don't need to account for like modern audiences being too scared to buy it.
Devanshri was saying how the biggest barrier to get in their games on Xbox was the fact that so much bureaucracy comes with a AAA release, and that barrier is completely removed when it comes to an indie game. And I think that's why you have so many people that are able to just, as a single developer, sit down and spend God knows how long of their life just creating something that they're making a game for themselves. They're not having to tick off all these bureaucratic check boxes, from focus groups and stuff, saying, what is the most popular thing right now, and how far can we push it. They're like, yeah, let me make some fucking game with some baby or something like that goes on a killing rampage, and then they go out and they do it, right? And then we're all sat here talking about how great it is. It's ingenuity. It's what kept who made what's it called, Elsewhere game, the one where he goes after his vampire girlfriend.
Was it Xavier Nelson?
Yeah, that was like a last hurrah, right? They were going to close down if that game wasn't a success. A AAA game would have never ever had that level of ingenuity or been in a position where they were like, you know what, fuck it, let's just do what we want to do. And if it floats, it floats. If it sinks, it sinks. And you gotta respect, what they're doing there, that you can't really get. As much as we said that we love like Bloober's games or something like that, is Bloober AAA? Would you class it as AAA?
No.
Yeah.
Now maybe, but not before. No.
Yeah, but there are. I respect what they do, and that they make games for themselves, and that game finds an audience. That was my little talk.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my talk.
Pretty much the same way. The way that I think about them is just they don't pull punches. Two, they're usually personal stories. That's the best kind of horror. It comes from just personal stories, things that you've probably never heard of before or seen before or thought of before. Sometimes they go the meta horror route, just like Among Ashes. I like that they're usually experimental. They're not afraid to do something stupid, and then somehow that something stupid works out and it sells a lot of copies. But yeah, in AAA, you can't really take those risks. You have a big team that you got to think about. You got to make shareholders happy, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when you're indie, you're independent, literally. You're just by yourself, or you have a small team. You can take more risks. And I think that just makes it special.
I still get annoyed whenever I see the article from Capcom saying they made Resident Evil 7 too scary. Like, that's the whole point of your series. It's just make it scarier.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think it's indie versus AAA on average, not just for horror or whatever, but the entire industry was built on small teams making cool and interesting games, being innovative and experimental. And once we got to a sweet spot and everybody quit innovating and they got complacent and they sat there and they're like, okay, this is good. Then we get those focus groups. And we're like, okay, everybody needs yellow paint. Everybody needs this. Everybody needs that. And we need everything to be like an on-rails thing. It just needs to be super simple and simplified down and ironed up to be the most, least challenging thing possible. But I think what indie games and AA games offer is that freedom that the industry had in the early 2000s and 90s, even the AAA studios had once upon a time. And we get these interesting games. You could look at something like Before Your Eyes, which uses like the ability to blink as we'll skip through the game, or we'll change how certain things play out and all that kind of stuff. And just more and more games are doing like just cool things you don't see games do every day. Same with like VR or augmented reality stuff. Like they're just always doing something experimental and different that is not a guaranteed money maker.
Yeah. Something happened during the PlayStation 3
Even Valve took a
360
big
era. The reason why I say it is that when you look at like the PlayStation 2 era and the original Xbox, there wasn't really AAA. Like every game was almost like a higher and lower, but there wasn't so much like indie and then AAA. But somewhere between the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 4 is famous for its big budget PlayStation exclusives, where they were very clearly AAA, and the transition seems to have happened during the 360 era, where everything was kind of innovative and stuff, and then after that it was like, no, it's $100 million, we expect to sell XYZ amount.
Yeah, I think after the 360 PS3 era, we definitely got a lot more difficult, to
just kind of became a
make the
victim of its own
money, and they
success, right?
ironed it down more.
Not to point fingers, but I think The Last of Us did a lot of damage on Ironic. And I love that game, but I think that game did a lot of damage to just game making in general. Big budgets, Hollywood actors, this, that. We really don't need that, man. Just make a game in 2 years, release it. We'll love it, I promise you.
It is a fantastic horror game.
I like Last of Us a lot.
Yeah, but the problem is they're chasing Hollywood instead of
though,
embracing their own celebrity. They want all the Hollywood people, and it's like, no, this is the video game industry. Embrace your own celebrities, or embrace people within this particular industry and turn them into celebrities. Stop trying to hijack someone else's celebrity.
Well, to be fair, we did make our own celebrities. The problem is that celebrity is always Troy Baker. Remember Bioshock? Once it came out that same year, same guy. And that's another game I think is like a tentpole of kind of where it's not like a bad thing that games got self-aware to the point where they wanted to be more like a movie. It's just that can't be every game.
Yeah.
I think that game, I think I talked about this a little bit in my Evil Within videos. I feel like that game coming out the year after those games, people were like, what the fuck is this anime plot? Why aren't these characters rich and, three-dimensional in my soul? And it was just like, can you just not enjoy something being fun and entertaining? Like, you don't have to be told every 5 minutes how the character's like rationalizing this crazy fucking situation, man. What are they feeling? And it's just like, I don't know, it probably sucks. What am I feeling? I know what I'm responding to. What are we talking about? So you've got
I think that's to
some degree
good thing that we've seen a resurgence of that too.
2 came out the year after, so you've got like these kind of successive years of huge tentpole games, and they all can have something in common where the story is so central, where people start getting accustomed to that and they expect that as the new standard for whatever reason, for reasons good and bad. If you expect that every time, kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's good that those kind of games, like Medium was talking about, the kind of games where the character doesn't have to rationalize their feelings, doesn't have to be that narratively deep, has also made a return when we're looking at a resurgence of all these games, whether it be 3D platformers, 2D platformers, boomer shooters, whatever, like old school, tank control horror games, and just fun, stupid ass games. Like we just got more and more games that don't really care about the plot. It's more about just having a good time and screwing off and doing whatever and just enjoying the game as a video game over it having to be this narrative focused, highly curated, well, telegraphed experience. Sometimes you can just be thrown into a game that's just really fun, and the whole point is just to have fun. And I've played a lot of those over the last few years, and I'm like, it's really refreshing. Like you play a bunch of like big AAA games, and then you play like a freaking gory Cuddly Carnage or something that I played last year, and I'm like, damn, that's just fun. It makes no sense. None of it makes any fucking sense from beginning to end, but it's so fun. And sometimes you just need that. You need that break to just play a video game.